Oh my gosh. Okay. Hey everybody, it's Noelle, and I haven't been on my channel in a long while, and that is because I've just been super busy. All this year I was working on my solo album EP for my electronic music, and that is now out. I go by Galaxy Sorceress for that music, so if you want to check that out, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, and most streaming services, and it's on YouTube, so just search Galaxy Sorceress Stardust is the name of the EP. So yeah, I've just been working on that like all year, but I also run 2 small businesses, so I've been really busy with that and haven't had a lot of time to like make really cool video content, which I really love doing with my art. But I do have a video coming out beginning of December of this year, 2023, for the title track on my Galaxy Sorceress EP, and the song is called Stardust, You Are Made Of. So the music video for that will be coming out, I think like in a week or so from me filming this video. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I'm in my car and I had to like maneuver all this stuff around so I could film this in here. I was like climbing into the front and back seat and stuff to see where the lighting was good. And I'm filming inside of my car because inside of my house I live with other people, and everyone is always like doing something, and there's just like a lot going on all the time, and I get distracted. Like, they don't care if I film, but I personally get distracted with it. So I thought I'll just go into my car, and it's almost like a little recording booth in here, so that works for me. So I wanted to talk about how I got into voice acting, because a lot of people ask me that, and also I've been wanting to like update everyone because I know some of you probably follow me because you know that I do voiceover on the video game Epic 7, and I want to talk about like where I am with that and like if I'm still doing voiceover and all of that. So I'm going to start off by talking about how I got into voice acting. And there is one cool thing that I really personally liked about working in the entertainment industry is that you can get into it in like so many different ways. Like, everyone who is working in the industry got into it in their own way. Like, there's no set way to start working in the industry. And so for those people who feel like, you know, like, how in the world do you do that? Anyone can, like, really anyone can. Anyone can at least try even to get into that industry. There's no set way to do it. You can just start working like as a, you know, PA, or just work on projects for free just because you want to like help out on the set or whatever. And you get to know people, you do the networking, and you can just fall into like some really cool jobs in the industry. The way I got into it is I went to school for art, and after I got out of school, I started working. One of my first big jobs was working on an animated show, and I had no experience in animation. I'd never worked on a TV production or anything like that, but I knew that I wanted to draw characters. I love drawing characters, I love designing characters, and I wanted to be a character designer. So I started working on an animated show. I was lucky enough to get hired on a show called The Life and Times of Tim, and you can go look that up on IMDb. But it was a show that aired on HBO, and I started working as a production artist on that show. So I was like drawing the characters and backgrounds and everything you see on the show. Me and 3 other artists and some of the animators drew everything that you would see on that show. And one day when I was just sitting at my desk working away, one of the editors on the show was like, "Hey, Noelle, you have a funny voice. Can you come do like this pickup line for an animatic?" And an animatic, well, they were just sort of like doing like editing the scene. It may have been an animatic, but an animatic is, for those who aren't familiar with it, it's basically like a draft of the animation before it's finally finalized and rendered and all of that. So it's kind of like a rough draft of the scene or the animation. And I guess they were working on that, and they were like, yeah, we just need someone to do this one bit line. And so I was like, yeah, of course. And they were just like, I don't know if he'll stay in the show. Probably won't. We just need someone to do like a voice real quick. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, because I've, up until that point, my personal projects had been with like puppets and doing voices for puppets and things, and making my own projects where I was doing, voices and singing. So I did a lot of like, I've always been recording music and singing, so I had experience on a microphone and recording. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. No problem. And I went in to the booth that they had, and I just said like 2 lines or something. And then I think they also had me do like some like background whispering crowd voices or something. Okay, of course my other camera died. I always am watching videos and people are like, my camera died, and I'm like, how are they not charging their camera before they do a video? But I did that. It happened to me because I was like, oh, I want to do this video. I just thought of doing it like really quick, but my camera was not charged. So now I'm switching over to my iPad, and I can't really set the iPad in very many places. So now I'm in like this weird position in my car, but whatever. So, okay, so yes, I was doing I did some voices on the Live in Times with Tim, and after that, they ended up leaving my parts in the scene, so it actually aired on TV, and through that, I was able to join SAG-AFTRA, which is the Screen Actors Guild Union, because I had done voiceover on something that went on to TV. So through that, I was eligible to join SAG-AFTRA, and because I was working a full-time job at the time, I was able to pay for the join-up fee, because there is a join-up fee when you join SAG-AFTRA, and it's kind of pricey, but I was able to afford that, thank goodness. And I was like, yeah, I want to join SAG-AFTRA because it would be so cool to do more voice acting, because it is true, I do have like a weird funny voice, and so I thought, hey, I might try that out, because it would be really fun to be able to do work like that, because I mean, it's best when your work is fun. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna join SAG-AFTRA, and so I did that. But it was 3 years before, from joining SAG to when I actually started doing voiceover professionally. So in between that time, I took a lot of voiceover workshops, acting classes, and basically a lot of research on doing voiceover and what it's like in the business, and learning who all of the casting directors are, and just learning about how everything works. And I took some workshops with casting directors that I wished that I could have worked with, or I wanted to work with. And there are some casting directors out there, who cast for Disney and for really cool video games. And if they have workshops that they're hosting, I definitely recommend taking those classes, because they know so much and you will learn so much from those classes. And so that's what I did. I took workshops, classes, and just even some regular just acting classes, like not even just for voiceover, it was just regular acting classes. And so after that, 3 years had gone by, and I felt confident enough to make a professional voiceover demo, which is what you need to like start sending that out to professional voiceover agencies. So I came across this YouTube channel called VO Buzz Weekly, Voiceover Buzz Weekly, and the hosts, Chuck and Stacy, they know so much about the industry, and they had interviewed so many people, so many voice actors, agents, managers, and it's such a cool show. And from watching their shows, I learned a lot from there. And Chuck had mentioned somewhere I found out that he does professional voiceover demos. And so I contacted him. Oh, by the way, I was living in Los Angeles this entire time. So that's also the place to be, like if you're going to be wanting to do voiceover in like video games, animation, commercials. It's best to be like in a big city like Los Angeles. So Chuck had his studio in Los Angeles, and I contacted him, and I just, told him my background and that I'd been taking classes and everything, and I was interested in having a professional commercial voiceover demo made with him. And so that worked out, and I was able to record a professional demo with him, and I actually learned a lot from Chuck. He had a lot of advice to give about being professional in the industry, and I got this amazing commercial demo. And so after that, I then started contacting voiceover agencies, like a ton. There's lots, and you can contact voiceover agencies in other states, and I just noticed that here. Okay, you can contact voiceover agencies in other states and countries probably, but I did learn, which is very interesting, that Canada has a lot of voiceover opportunities, by the way, because they have a lot of animation production houses in Canada. But if you're an American worker, you don't really have an opportunity to work on Canadian projects, because I did learn that Canada has a law where they have to employ a Canadian first, and if they really cannot find any Canadian workers to do that job, then they'll hire someone from out of the country. So yeah, you could probably find voiceover agencies all around the world, all around America, but it may be harder to work in other countries if they have laws like that. So I was just contacting, at first, local agencies, and of course the main ones in Los Angeles. And I did hear back from a few, but it was, it wasn't like, no, your demo's horrible or anything like that, thank goodness. It was just like, no, we are not looking for voices of your style right now, because they probably either don't have a lot of projects for that, or they already have voices similar. So that made sense. I think it was like probably about like I would say maybe like 4 or 5 months before I sort of started talking with this one agency. But I also had a friend who I met through networking, and they were very well connected in the industry, and they were like, oh, hey, I can show your demo to my agent. And I guess they did, and they said, oh, you know, your demo is great, but they want to hear your animation demo. And I didn't have an animation demo. So they actually helped me make an animation demo. And so yeah, networking is very helpful because when you get to know other people in the industry who are also maybe more ahead of you in their career, especially if they're ahead of you in your career, they can really help you. So my friend helped me create an animation demo, and then I took my commercial demo, my animation demo, and I emailed this agency. They were a big agency in Los Angeles, and I heard back from them, and I was lucky enough to get signed with them for a couple years. I was with them for about like 4.5 years, I think, up until like 2022, around there. So that was like last year, I think. Yeah. And through that agency, that is how I got connected with doing voiceover on Epic 7, because Epic 7 was one of their clients, and one of the auditions that I did was to not replace a voice actress, but one of the voice actresses was no longer working in the industry, and so they were looking for somebody to move in as that character, because she was no longer doing the voices. And so I got cast because of that. Otherwise, I don't think I would even get that job, because that actress would probably still be doing the voices. So yeah, that's how I got hooked up with Epic 7. And then my contract with that agency didn't get renewed. I think that was in last year, in the beginning of 2022, but it's either 2021 or 2022. But my contract didn't get renewed with that agency. But at the time, this was after 2020, when a lot of productions just were inactive, and there just was like not a lot of work at all for anyone, really. So there definitely was like nothing for people who were sort of just starting out or mid-career. And I did notice that a lot of my voiceover work was just like, I just got like no auditions at all, because people just like weren't making anything. And that's when I started like taking on other interests, because I'm like, you know, there's really not a lot of work in this industry now for me. And that's when I started working more on like back on my art and my music and things like that. But amazingly, I did do work for Epic 7 during that time, because they were a video game, and video games were still able to like function remotely. So that was really cool, and I felt lucky again for that. And then after I didn't renew with that agency, or renew my contract, it was literally like the next day, like after I spoke with the agency and they were like, oh yeah, we're not renewing the contract and everything, like literally the next day, Epic 7 contacted them and was like, oh, we were wondering if, you know, Noelle would be available to schedule a record. And so that was like kind of funny timing. And the agency, like, they're very nice, and they contacted me, and they forwarded Epic 7 to me. So now I don't have an agency anymore, and that's how I was able to continue staying on their roster, on Epic 7's roster, and like continuing to work with them if they want to record. So also thankful for that. But I didn't, after I wasn't with that agency anymore, I thought about like I could go and I could find another agent. But I didn't live in Los Angeles anymore. Actually, I hadn't lived in Los Angeles since I had signed with an agency. I moved out of Los Angeles like right after I signed with an agency. I moved like an hour outside of LA, and I didn't think that that would be too much of an issue, because it's really not. I mean, like, if you have a record, you can just drive in. But it was an issue in terms of networking, because there was like a lot of like parties and events and gatherings that you could meet a lot of casting directors and other voiceover actors and just other directors and agents and managers. And I am not actually that social of a person. So I definitely, it would be out of my character to drive like an hour just to go to these events. But I feel like if I were living in LA and a little closer, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll go. But so that was one of the things that made it harder for me to continue working in the industry, is I couldn't really like network as much as I probably should have, because I lived quite far. So I thought, oh, also I had moved. I was living, when I moved out of LA, I was living in a house that had an extra room, and it had it was a really small room that was perfect for like a little studio, and that's where I set up my home studio, and I was able to do like professional records inside of that small little studio I had made. I have a video of like a tour of the little studio I created. But then I moved again, and I can't even remember the year. I think it was in like 2021 or something. I had moved again, and I moved to a smaller place, and I did not have a recording studio anymore. So I just had a bedroom, and I'm not gonna put a recording studio in my bedroom. It just wasn't ideal. There's not even any room in the bedroom that I have for like anything. So that wasn't very ideal at all. And so that made it a little, again, harder for me to continue in voiceover, because I didn't really have a place to set up like home recordings if I had to do a home recording. So I just felt like I wasn't really equipped anymore to continue doing voiceover. And so I decided not to seek out another agent or another agency, because I just didn't feel confident with like my recording situation, and also just my networking situation. So I decided, yeah, not to continue aggressively pursuing voiceover. But I didn't quit. I have not quit voiceover or anything like that. I just sort of feel like it's just a little harder for me to focus on that. However, but yeah, like I said, I'm still on Epic 7's roster, so they can contact me if they need me. But also, interestingly, I have to talk about this. SAG-AFTRA has gone through a strike, and then there was the writer's strike, and now I haven't looked into it, but I need to. I think the video games contract for SAG-AFTRA is being negotiated, and there is a big issue with AI. And I've been keeping up with, you know, the SAG-AFTRA contract strike and everything. Strike is over, but I was looking at the contract, and I have no problem with like AI being used on production. I have used AI for things that I've produced, and it is so helpful. And if it's with the right people, in the hands of the right people, you can really use it to create great things. So I am not against AI in terms of like creating content, but what really worries me is that the security, like there is not a lot of security when it comes to like regulating AI. And even though even though like a production could use AI in good faith, it's just really scary because they could still definitely get hacked. No matter how hard you try to like, keep things private, or things can still get hacked. Like, it's just like a reality. And also, you never know, like someone working on the set could like steal AI assets and things like that. And I don't know, that just really worries me. I just don't feel totally secure with any of that yet. I haven't seen anything to like help me feel better about that. So I personally am not sure about all of the AI stuff. So if like projects start going more towards AI, I don't know if I would be interested in that, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, there's all of that too. So there's just like all this stuff going on that was like kind of sort of stressing me out when it came to like continuing to work in voiceover. And I just always want to feel like comfortable when I'm working. Of course everyone does. I don't want to be like stressed out or like scared all the time. So yeah, so that's where I am right now with voiceover. I haven't quit or anything, but I'm not like actively pursuing it. And yeah, but other than that, everything has been going really good, especially in terms of like me writing music and creating art. I'm still doing that. And if you're interested in the other things that I do, I have a business where I sell my artwork on products, greeting cards, wrapping paper, gifts, all that really cool stationery stuff. And if you go to noellsnow.com, I'll put a link, but that's where all of my art products are. And then, of course, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, you can always check out my music at Galaxy Sorceress. I don't have like a website for that, but you can hear that music on this channel or on streaming services. And I also have my music with Jeremy, Noel and Jeremy. We're working on our second album, and I'm so excited about that. I really love working on Noel and Jeremy music because that music is like, it's like all of my true creativeness goes into Noel and Jeremy. I don't feel like I have like oh, if I'm writing this, I have to like, if I want to like get this music on TV or have it be in movies, I have to make sure to like have this structure, or I have to like say these certain, I have to sing certain lyrics for these songs. I don't feel any restraints when I do Noel and Jeremy music. It's just like pure creativity, and amazingly, that's the music that tends to get like attention, because we did win a music video award, and because of that, our video for our song Red Light was on TV. It was literally on TV. It was so cool. It was on PBS, and that show that it was on, it's called Music California, and that show has been going around like on its little tour. It's been going around to different PBS stations like all around America and different states and everything. So that is so cool. I've like, they don't really put music videos on MTV anymore, but I always wanted like to be on MTV when I was like growing up, like, so that is really, really cool for us. So check that out if you haven't checked out that video for Red Light. And yeah, so that's everything that I wanted to update everyone on. I guess I could just say that if you yourself are looking to get into voiceover, I would say just do a lot of research on it. And also, if you are an extroverted person and you like networking, that is like key. So do a lot of that. And if you're not like myself, it's okay to I wouldn't say step out of your comfort zone, because that could like give you like anxiety attack. Stay in your comfort zone, but try new things inside of your comfort zone. Like for example, I am comfortable emailing people, but I had never emailed a casting director before or reached out to them with my demo. So I tried it. I gave it a try, and I reached out to like agencies, and I was able to connect with one. That's what I would say. Network however you feel comfortable. Do a lot of research. Also, of course, do a lot of practicing acting. Take acting classes, take workshops, work with acting coaches, and work with people who are actively working in the industry. Find casting directors or actors who have workshops and classes available. Work with those people. And it does help to live near recording studios. That's very, very helpful. I feel like it will be way easier if you live near recording studios. If you live near recording studios, you could even, it's also cool too if you could work on a production or do some work on a production, just so you can understand how it works, because that helped me so much in terms of confidence. Because like I said, before I started working on The Life and Times of Tim, I had never worked on a production before, so I had no idea like how shows were even made, and it seemed like really daunting, like how does anyone ever do this? But when I started working on the show, I saw how every single department works and like what they do. And then I realized, oh, like this is doable. Like this can be done. And then it felt less like daunting. And when someone asked me to do voiceover, I wasn't like scared, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to like ruin the production or something. I was like, no, like I felt confident, and I felt like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. Like, sure, I'll do some voiceover. So you gain a lot of confidence when you start working on productions and learning how everything works. It's like less scary when you finally get the opportunity to work on a production. So yeah, that is everything that I would recommend. And good luck to anyone who wants to do voiceover. Leave in the comments if you have any other questions, and I could probably answer them. And yeah, so thanks everybody. I'm glad I could do this update. I'm sorry I'm in my car. But hopefully one day soon I will have a small recording studio again. But yeah, please watch out for my music video, and thanks for all the support that you have given. Love you guys.